This episode of the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast is brought to you by Groundhog Day is an event, not a business strategy. Are you ready to finally solve those pesky issues that keep holding back your business success and never seem to go away? Embrace the power of the S.P.R.I.N.G formula that unearths the issues and opportunities burrowed beneath the surface, and grow your business so you thrive from your intersection of your brilliance and your passion. Claim your copy today at www.thegroundhogbook.com. Welcome to the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast. Join us as we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who reveal what they are doing to make the world a better place by being part of it. Be sure to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now sit back, lean in, tune in, get your notepad and 2 pens ready, and let's get started.
My name is Adam Homey. I am your host, and I am honored by your wise decision to tune in and invest in yourself today. Right now, we are speaking with Kevin Cole, who's been a friend of mine for a long time. And let me tell you about Kevin. He is a hypnotherapist and NLP coach who, starting with himself and moving on to others for over 25 years, he has been helping individuals overcome personal challenges in their past, learn and experience how to live passionately in the present, ultimately discover and live their true passion in life. He is involved with Empowerment Quest International and the Las Vegas Hypnosis Center, among other things. There's so much to learn about Kevin. I urge you to visit www.brilliancepluspassion.com. Check out this episode if you're not already there, and look in the show notes. He has many resources. It's amazing stuff. And with that, Kevin, welcome aboard.
Yeah, great to see you again. Always great.
Yep. So, first question: how does the work you do make the world a better place for your clients, customers, and society at large?
Excellent question, and especially in this last year and 3 months, 6 months, whatever the heck it's been, in this crazy ride we've had recently.
Yeah.
I truly believe that the most valuable aspect of what I do is that I help people to be happy. And that doesn't just help that individual. I really believe that is I think most people genuinely want to help other people in different ways. I really do. I think most people do. And I think the most important thing and the best thing is for individuals to really be happy within themselves, because that overflows. It's a huge ripple effect. And in case you haven't noticed, including your listeners haven't noticed, last year or so, a lot of people have been pretty unhappy. And yeah, talk about a massive ripple effect. But the fact that whether somebody comes to me to quit smoking, or they come to me to, specifically because they're like, I'm unhappy and I want to be happier, I always help them to become a lot happier. And I think that's the most important thing, especially these days. Probably more important than, at least in my lifetime.
Right.
Yeah.
So just so our listeners understand, I know that you're a hypnotherapist. I know you're involved with NLP, but in your own words, what is it that you actually do?
Voodoo is what I do. No.
Voodoo is what you do. And that voodoo that you do so well.
No, yes, of course. I'm a hypnotherapist and I'm an NLP, quote unquote, master practitioner. That's the title that they give. That said, it's easier to explain the hypnosis side of things because most people know what that is to some degree. But in essence, I utilize hypnosis and other change work methodologies to help people to be, do, and or have just about anything they desire in life within logical reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In your experience, what are a few of the most common, frequently asked questions that people have for you as they're going through their process of making their decision to work with you?
The 2 most common questions. One of them is, just with the hypnosis side of things, people still ask, are you going to make me cluck like a chicken or bark like a dog? Even though I've never seen any hypnotist ever make somebody cluck like a chicken. Even the fun stage hypnotists don't do that.
Right.
So I don't know where that came. I do know where it came from, but it's really outdated. But it's still a common question. The other one is, does this work? Or they say, does that really work? In which case, I'm like, well, what do you? I don't say that, but in my head, I'm like, what do you think I'm going to say? But what I do say is, I say, as long as you're willing to do your part and don't expect it to be like TV and movies where I'm just going to wave a watch in front of your face and control you and blah, 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 blah. And you're willing to do your part. Yes, it absolutely works. It works better than anything I know, because if I did know something that worked even better, I'd be doing that instead.
Yeah. What are a few questions you wish people would ask?
Questions. One is, how soon we get started. I'd love that to be the first question. Sometimes it is. Sometimes people are just like, okay, I already checked you out. I've done the background check, review, checked out reviews and all that sort of stuff. And how soon we get started. What I love though is when they ask questions that are really specific to what they want, which tells me they already know what they want, which it starts things out easier. And that's okay when, quite frankly, most people aren't really that clear on what they want. And that's okay. That's where we start. But if they already know in advance and they're asking me questions about that, that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, full disclosure, and I think we can share this because I've mentioned it on your Google page and in other places as well. I've been a client of yours. I've been a big believer in hypnotherapy for a long time. I've worked with several hypnotherapists on issues including mitigating trypanophobia, including getting over a breakup, which is, I know, something that you do a lot of work on. And in your case, I came to you, this was actually while the bug was floating around pretty hot and heavy. And it occurred to me that I'd recently had a few interactions with either tech support or customer service at companies I dealt with that led to me almost literally reaching through the phone line and grabbing them by the hair and yanking them. Yep. So in other words, customer service rage. Now the funny and first of all, what I discovered is when I first spoke with you about it is how common the issue really is. And we did a great exercise together, and I don't remember during the visioning us going back and doing a whole lot of stuff about. So tell me about the time that tech support person at the web host was just really, really bad or really, really incompetent, and it just frustrated you. Or tell me about the time when you were transferred to the third department in the call, and they made you look at your serial number again to revalidate who you were after you'd already explained it twice. But however, what I loved about you was your understanding of the subtle mind, and you took me places where not only did, without really addressing the issue itself directly too much that I remember, we ended up solving it in addition to also surfacing and I won't get into too many details here, but the work that we did ended up surfacing some suppressed traumas from childhood and allowing those to bubble to the surface. And in one case, caused candidly an explosion, led to me becoming way more effective in business. The impact that I've seen in 2021 is on my focus and how there's a lot of things that just don't weigh me down anymore the way they used to. And I can draw a straight line between your work and that result.
Yeah. And to kind of piggyback on that and to really to give some advice to people that, because oftentimes people do have, I'll get calls a lot actually, where people want me to help them to dig into their past and things like that. And I use a metaphor. I literally directly rip off a metaphor from a woman. I'll give her credit, of course, by the name of Melissa Roth. But then I piggyback off of her metaphor because I add to it some important distinctions. Nonetheless, the metaphor is that in general in life, if you're driving down the road and you run over a pothole, it doesn't make a lot of sense to drive back to that same pothole, dig deeper into it, and say, why is it here? It's just going to create a deeper pothole. Right. Now that said, it's in general, okay? it's best to just keep driving, go to the mechanic, get the car realigned, and get back on the road. Now, here's where I add to that metaphor, because I think it's a very important distinction, is that if we keep running over the same pothole over and over and over again, okay, which oftentimes we do. I know I've been there, okay, both literally and metaphorically, meaning in life, the same issue might keep coming up. For example, in this case, just the customer service, keep getting triggered by that, okay? Then it is useful, or it can be useful to, metaphorically speaking, drive back to that pothole, take a look in it, but not dig deeper and say, why is it here? Just take a look at it and really ask ourselves, what is it that we're needing to fill it with? And to be very specific with that, when we're talking about human beings as opposed to concrete, we're talking about emotions. And it always comes down to what is it that we were, and in reality still are, wanting and or needing emotionally that we can fill ourselves with. And it's always about what good feelings we were wanting or needing. And it oftentimes will include security. It will oftentimes include things like just feeling heard, while not being dependent on actually being heard by those people that don't want to listen to us.
Right.
Okay. Because talk about giving away your power. If somebody's like, I don't care, I don't want to listen, don't try to make them listen. Right? But recognize that that's still a feeling, an emotion that we're desiring and or needing, and we can fill ourselves with that within. And the other very important distinction is to also ask ourselves, what, if anything, are we wanting and or needing to pay attention to, learn from, and take action with. And I rip off Sigmund Freud on this one.
Yep. Okay? So let's finish this one up, and then we got to move on.
Absolutely. So there's a Facebook meme, so it must be true, where Sigmund Freud once said, before you diagnose yourself with clinical depression or generalized anxiety, take a good look around and make sure you're not surrounded by assholes. Obviously, he didn't say that, but I love the quote.
Right.
And those are important to pay attention to as well. Sometimes setting appropriate boundaries. So what's next?
Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to go into a little bit of a lightning round in the last few minutes here. Cool. And this is where we get to know Kevin Cole more as an individual. So tell me something that people who know you would be surprised to learn about you.
Well, why not? Let's give them something let's intrigue them. Most would probably be surprised to know that I was raised by a mother with schizophrenia. And she passed away when I was like 12, and don't be getting all depressed about that, people. Notice how look at my face. Okay. I got over that over half my lifetime ago, because that's how I got into this line of work. Was I worked on myself first, transformed all of that trauma and drama and all of it. And now I've been fine with it for decades at this point.
Great.
But yeah, most people are surprised to know that. They're like, really? Also, they're surprised to know that I'm 47, because they oftentimes say, wow, you look like you're 12.
Yeah, you are a very youthful looking man. So what do you hope people say about you when you're not around to hear it?
Oh, good question. What do I hope that they say? I hope that they say, generally, being real with it, I'm fighting back just dumb humor. But sincerely, I really hope they say, wow, he left me in a better place than where, I feel just better. He helped me to feel good. He helped me to feel better than I was. It's kind of a game that I played that I turned into a profession, which is leaving people in a better place than I found them.
Great. If you could go back in time and change one thing you've done or one thing you've experienced, what would it be and why?
I'm always real, and that's a deep question. If there was one thing that I could change, it would be in my early 20s when I tried to kill myself. Not because if it only affected me, I'd be like, well, I got the lessons, it was great. But if I could take back the people that it hurt, that I would do that in a second, if I could.
Right.
Yeah.
What famous person, alive or dead, would you like to meet? And if you had the opportunity to do so, what question would you have for them?
Oh, wow. Yes. David Bowie comes to mind.
Okay.
We share the same birthday, and he's just such a brilliant guy and funny as hell. A lot of people don't know that. but funny as hell, and just an incredible human being. Behind the scenes, he did so much to fight for people's rights in so many different ways.
Right.
But people only knew him for his music. That's one that comes to mind.
Okay, great. What motivates and inspires you to keep going when you're having a tough time or facing a challenge?
Another excellent questions. Because I hate pain. I hate being unhappy. And in the wise words of, I don't know if it was Dale Carnegie or George Bernard Shaw, I forget, but if you, the quote is, if you want to conquer fear, don't sit home and think about it, go out and get busy. And I apply the same thing to any kind of challenge. It's just, I don't like feeling bad. So I take action to feel good.
Right.
Yeah.
So finally, and I know you have actually 2 invitations for our listeners, and I will share those with the audience. In general, right now, what is one action you would urge listeners to take as soon as they finish streaming this episode?
One action I would encourage them to take. I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna say 2. 1, be cool to other people. Just be cool to other people. Your life will get better in the process. But also, as fluffy as it may sound, one of my core beliefs: if you don't already, learn how to truly love yourself. Okay, not just say it, and not just self-care, although that's very important as well, but really experience loving yourself. Okay, that is yeah.
Okay, that's great. So here are your invitations, of which you have 2. For those who are listening or watching right now, and you're on our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com, checking out this episode directly on our website, you'll find us all in your show notes. For everybody else who's out jogging or on a syndicator, I'm going to read them out loud to you. The first one is www.NLPtrainingquest.com. So NLP is in neuro-linguistic programming, trainingquest.com. What this is, it's your opportunity to sign up to receive some free audios, videos, and articles about neuro-linguistic programming. I myself am a student of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP. I've studied it extensively, not only in how it's used in business communications, but also in media programming, and how it can be used to both build barriers and also build bridges. And I like to focus on the bridge building side of it, how you can change just a couple words and turn barriers into bridges using the same building materials. Now, if you are in a position where you are going through a breakup, or you know somebody who's going through a breakup, or you think one day you might go through a breakup, so you just want to know what you're getting into, here's another resource. It's www.getoverabreakupfast.com. That's www.getoverabreakupfast.com. And this is going to be your free breakup survival guide. I can only say that when I went through a particularly nasty breakup almost 10 years ago, that I got through it in 3 days through hypnotherapy, 1 session. And not only did I solve that, but I also solved a couple other things. So with that, Kevin, Cole, thank you so much for being with us. And it's been an honor, and believe me, an education.
Excellent. Yeah, well, thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Thank you for tuning into the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs, business creators, and brilliant minds who are making a difference for their community, market, and audience. Remember to visit our website at www.brilliancepluspassion.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Brilliance Plus Passion podcast.